We are streaming live on Facebook. Welcome, everybody. My name is Sarah Grandinetti, and this is your Being You Adventure Show. I'm super excited to have my guest, Elena, today. She is a BYCF, and she does Being You classes, which are also her, I guess. And today I'm really excited because her topic is Being You in the World, which is very broad. I like it. And I get that, as a translator, you get to be in the world in many different ways. I'm still paying attention to you. I'm looking down to see where our live is so I can share it. So, okay. And then I can watch this and get everybody's questions. Where are you at right now, Elena?
Right now in Mexico City. I just arrived yesterday from Argentina.
Oh, you were at the body class.
Yes, I was there. Which was so awesome. It was a class that I think that the excuse is the bodies, but it really changes your universes.
I can't wait to get the recordings of that. I want to hear, because that was Dean's first solo body class.
Oh yeah,
right?
It was amazing.
So, okay, so Being You in the World, when you chose this topic, what were you aware of? Like, what did you want to share with people?
So let me start by saying all my life, yes, I don't look Mexican, as you can notice. People, since I was very little, I traveled a lot. I had the luck that my grandparents loved traveling, and they loved taking me along with them. So I traveled all around the world, because just like, grandparents do. And it gave me such an energy of how many differences are there in the world. And the thing I usually got is, no, you're not Mexican. You don't look Mexican, you don't act Mexican. And it's like, what does that mean? And then I came into Access and I learned about infinite beings. And it was like, oh, maybe I am not only Mexican. I am so many other things. And I see this place where it's such a gift when you allow yourself to see all the differences that are there around the world, and to just be with that and really start listening to other ways of being that might enrich your life, that might have a nurturing energy in your life. So that was the reason to take this topic.
So have you found like that there are places, because I've seen this with myself with traveling too, like where I'll show up somewhere and I might have some sort of expectation of what it's like to be in that place or whatever, but then something in me changes, or like there's something in me that is familiar there or comes alive there in a different way. And I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh, that's my favorite country to visit, because they literally like resonate in a different way in that space. Can you tell me about some places that kind of evoke those things in you?
Oh, totally. For example, the first time I went to Japan, so I have a son who is now 22. And when he was, when he was like 2 years old, he was all about Pokemon. And he was like, oh, I want to learn Japanese because I want to read Pokemon in Japanese. So of course he did. And when he was 15, it was like, we have to go to Japan no matter what. And it was like, it's so long, the traveling, and it's so far away, and it's so expensive. All these awesome ideas that we have. Finally, I went to Japan, of course, like mothers do. And getting there was such a sense of, this is so different and so awesome. Like, you have the idea, like, there are some places, as you said, no, like, Japan is only sushi and anime. And they have all these other things that are amazing. And when you're present, you can see them. And before that, I went to Egypt. I remember I had to go to the pharmacy. And, sorry, I was over my dress. And like getting out of the strip of the hotels, going to the pharmacy, the energy changed so much because there was no polishing for the tourists anymore. So looking at all these contrasts, is where you say, wow, actually, what we think is being from any place is not that. And there are some traits that are similar, like in general, people tend to be in some ways when they are from a country, but actually, it's much richer than that. So when you're available to the change, to the difference, like if you're willing to see the difference, you can get this myriad of things that will enrich your life in ways you cannot believe it. I know people, for example, that go to Paris and they are dying for a hamburger or for tacos, no? Like Mexican, and they cannot live without tacos. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. And if you're going for 6 months, maybe you will miss tacos. But what if you chose to just look at what people do there? Maybe you will be surprised and amazed.
Yeah. Do you have a tool that you like to use? Because what I see a lot, especially, I mean, shout out to America, and what I see a lot with Americans that I've traveled with is like the rightness of their point of view of being American. So we'll go into another culture and it's like, hold on, let me tell you how America does it, you know? And I'm sure I'm guilty of that when I first started to travel, and I don't, whatever, pock and pod, whatever. But do you have a tool that you use or that you've given people or that you want to speak to about how to like get out of that? Because you just said like, hey, try on what they're doing here. Look at what you could take in or learn from this culture. And I get that when we think of, you know, so people who maybe haven't had a Being You class or haven't done a lot with Access might go to the point of view of like, well, being me is being American because I'm American, right? And you spoke to that in the beginning about like infinite being and that. So maybe you can expand on that a little bit, that we don't have to, that being American isn't actually who you be. It's just where you're from this lifetime. So what tools can you give us to, like, if we were going to go to Japan or we were going to travel to Egypt or we are going to go to Argentina or these places you're speaking of, like, where does being you fit into all of that and what tools can we use to get there?
I love your question because it's usually we think that what we know, what we have been trained to do is what we are. And there is a question that Dane uses a lot, and I have been listening to, like hearing it in the last many classes. He says, if I know not this, what would I choose?
Mm-hmm.
And that one I love because sometimes like you go to a place and it's fantastic, but sometimes you go to a place and it is terrible. It smells so different, it looks so different that you feel overwhelmed and almost afraid. So if you knew not what you know as an American or as a Mexican or as a European, what would you choose? And there are four questions that I really love that are like the first four questions that we get in Access. And they give so much space, which is like, what is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And how can I change it? And it sounds too simple to be true, but it's amazing. And this is one of the things I love the most about Access. Like the most powerful tools are given you in the first class. So if you never take another class, at least you can change your whole reality.
Yeah.
So going through these four questions, like you go into a place that looks so different and you go into this place of, oh, my way is the right way. To get out of there is, if I know not this, what would I choose? And what is this? Or you can use the extreme version, what the doc is this? And you can change the D for another word, for another letter if you want. What the doc is this? What do we do with it? Can I change it and how do I change it? And this work amazingly, especially, for example, when you have to deal with people in customs, in immigration, because that is something I have found is general everywhere in the world, where everybody thinks their system is the perfect one. And you are a foreigner who comes to abuse them or use them or whatever. Except maybe 2 countries, the rest are like that. So when you use this, it's like, oh, better.
Can you use, okay, so I'm looking at like, so it's my job as the interviewer of this show.
Okay.
to look out and like kind of perceive what somebody who's never done any access classes, who just like stumbled upon this live because you and I are so cute and funny. And right. um, and I heard you say, so if I know not this, what would I choose?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me more about that? Because I can hear it, and then I was like, oh, I'm filtering that through my like access awareness, and someone else might go, what? If I know not what are you talking about? What can you tell me like what, or a situation that you've used that tool and had it contribute to you, or anything like that, that so someone could get a little bit more out of that? Because that's a brilliant tool. I used to have it on the front of my phone.
So, for example, I live in a very big city. We have 22 million people. And I'm used to having a service level in the restaurants that is amazing. Like you will get a lot of servers. And they are fast and they are ready and they are willing. And then you go to some countries, for example, in Europe, where Norway, where you actually have to go to the bar to order food and then walk up afterwards to take your food, like if it was, takeout, no? And even in very high-end restaurants. So when you go there and your point of view is a high-end restaurant has to have this kind of service because you're used to it, you will think that's the worst restaurant in the world, even if it's the best and the food is amazing. So if you didn't know the service level you're used to, what could you choose then? Maybe you can choose looking at, oh, wow, this is interesting. They have this different idea of what service means. Maybe it's too expensive to hire more waiters. Maybe they like to walk before eating. And then you can focus on what is important of your experience, which is the food. Like you can have amazing food we can totally. And I have an example I love. When I was like really young, maybe 15 years old, I was in Egypt in one of these tombs that are amazing, no? And there was this guy from Mexico. So everybody was talking amazed and in total awe because these guys built this in the middle of the desert 25,000 years ago. And this guy was focusing on the flies.
The flies.
Flies. The only thing he saw during the whole trip was how many flies there were.
And how old were you? You remember this from then?
Yeah, of course. I was 15. Wow. And I remember like looking at this Abu Simbel, which is the place, like it's so amazing, so incredible. Like how come people could build this? And I remember this guy nagging, and I remember like I wanted to kill him because he was doing everything possible to ruin everybody's experience because he had a point of view about flies. So if you're an infinite being, you can choose to focus on flies, for example, or focus on the awesome experience of looking at what people could build 25,000 years ago. And it's your choice, obviously, but I'm all in for joy and fun. And flies and focusing on flies and being bitching about that, it's not exactly in the realm of joy and fun for me. And I could see the flies, I could feel the flies, like you would do like this, but it was not that terrible. So what are you focusing in when you're around the world? On the part that doesn't show as you expect it to show, or the part that doesn't look like you're used to, or on this part that opens your mind, opens everything for you and gives you, I don't know how to say this, like gives you another perspective of what is possible.
Yeah. And it opens up your receiving so much, like I even look at like the example you gave with service. You could totally discount the beautiful people that were bringing your food if you were only looking for the people who weren't cleaning up after you. And there'd be people there that were so excited to gift to you, but you might be looking at them saying, why aren't you cleaning up after me then? Or whatever, and And I love that example because it also leads me into one other one, tool that I love that I know we talk about in the Being You classes, which is your point of view creates your reality. So if you're looking for flies, that's what you'll see is flies. And if you're looking for like stunning beauty from the past, you'll see the stunning beauty from the past. And then, you know, and I would love to have been a fly on the wall, pun intended, after that vacation, because I bet if they talk to you about like what you received, you would have all this majestic beauty to speak of. And if you spoke to that man, he would be like, well, I went to this thing and saw these things, but there were flies everywhere, and it would be all about the flies. And it's like, how do you want to live your life? Like, what point of view do you want to take on what your experiences are? Are you going to see all the negative things, or are you going to choose to see the beauty in the world? So can you speak a little bit about the tool? I don't know what time it is, but point of view, oh, we're still good. Point of view creates your reality.
Oh yeah, totally. So what I like to explain is, if you're in the top of the Everest and you made it, and it's an awesome day, no clouds, nothing, like the view is majestic. You're on the top of the world, and you are lying face down. What do you see?
Face down on Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is this a trick question? Like,
you just see dirt.
You see dirt. Okay, cool. I got it right. All right.
Okay. So that's your point of view. If you're lying face down at the top of the Everest, you will see dirt. Maybe a little bit of grass, but I don't know, because they have been so crowded lately. So you will see dirt with a little bit of grass. So if people ask you, how is it like to be on top of the Mount Everest? And your point of view was lying down, face down. You will see, oh, it's a little bit of dirt and a little bit of grass. Now, if you just move your head a little bit, or even better, you stand up and look around, you can see these majestic mountains that are 8,000 meters high. You will see the whole range of mountains. You will see all these people coming up, the grasses, the little places down there. So if they ask you, how is it to be on top of the Everest, and that is your point of view, your experience is totally different. So sometimes what we do is we focus on the part that we don't like. Like if you are giving a talk to 500 people, and 2 of them stand up and walk out, we tend, and maybe you don't, but most people tend to think, God, what did I say for them to leave? Instead of, wow, 498 are enjoying my talk, and there are 2 people who didn't. So what you give your energy, what you focus on, is what you create more. Like, for example, if I say, don't think about a yellow car, but really don't think about the yellow car. Like, you are forbidden to think about the yellow car. Tell me, what brand is your car?
It's yellow, I'm sure.
So, and that's what we do. We say, I hate having the money problem. I don't like flies. And then everything you do is you create your reality through that filter, the thing you are using your energy to, on the people who leave your talk, on the flies, on the yellow cars, on the dirt on top of Mount Everest. So what if you could change just an angle, and then you will have something totally different, which is, for example, what we were saying in the Mount Everest. Sometimes you only need 90 degrees, like moving your head up, and it totally changes.
You know, that just made me think of, my kids will do like Easter egg hunts at Christmas. Listen to me. I should go home. Okay, not at Christmas. I am home. At Easter. And one year we did this like golden egg. Okay, the golden egg had a $5 bill in it, and all the other over 100 eggs had like coins and maybe $1 bills or whatever. And I remember watching my children focused on how they were going to do this. So one of them went out, or two, well, there's four of them. I think two of them went out for the golden egg. They literally could not see all the other bright, shiny eggs around because they wanted the golden egg. So what they focused on, their point of view was golden egg, golden egg, golden egg. So I would watch this and they would walk right by other eggs and not even pick them up because they weren't golden because they didn't even see them. And then I had another little one who was like, I'm just going to pick up as many eggs as I can. And she went around and just started grabbing all the eggs from all the areas. You know, she has this big basket full of eggs, and the other ones maybe had one or two, and no one found the golden egg. And by the end of it, they were so focused on that $5 bill, their point of view, right? And the little one who was like, I just want to be here to have fun. I want all the eggs. My point of view is to make this amazing. You know, she, I think, ended up with like over $20 because she had just stockpiled all the eggs, any egg she'll receive from any egg, you know? And it was so interesting because that's how we like leave our houses in the morning sometimes, is like looking for the problems, and all the possibilities are everywhere around us, but we're like, nope, I gotta make sure I'm aware of the problem so that the problem doesn't happen or it doesn't take me down today. So I'm gonna focus on the problem, or that like one cranky person at work that I just don't want to be around. So I'm gonna focus on how to avoid them all day. And there are all these beautiful people you could speak to all around. And how many of us are like creating our lives like that, not looking for the possibilities, and like the problems will come. But if you have all these possibilities around you, like what's one golden egg to 30, you know, colorful, beautiful ones that want to contribute to you? And we do that all the time. So anybody listening, if you haven't heard the tool, it's your point of view creates your reality. Your reality does not create your point of view. So if you just take that away from this talk today, your life can change dynamically. My friend Elena, where are you off to next?
Well, I'm doing the CF training in Costa Rica next week. Yeah. And I'm so happy because we have like 40 people from Spanish speaking countries that will be their first time being CFs. So we are, the army of CFs is growing in Latin America. And I am having a Being You class in Mexicali, which is in the border of Mexico and the US, in October. To the whole weekend class, and I'm so excited. People are so excited about this class. I love it. And this class, the manual, I mean, it's like the first time I read it, it's like treasure after treasure after treasure. Like you can get one page of this manual and your life will change, as you say. So that's where I want to invite everyone. And you don't have to go to Mexicali. You can also do it online.
Awesome. And then how would they reach you if they were interested in coming to that class?
Okay, so in Facebook, my name is Elena White, which is a little bit weird, but okay, doesn't matter. And I have a fan page, Elena Blanco, and I will be happy to share with you anything I have. I also have a Telegram channel where I have a lot of free stuff. It's called Magic Academy. And yeah, it's like I have videos, I have audios, I have little quotes, and it's the gifts that keep on giving.
I love it. Well, even in this posting, you can click on Elena's name and go private message her if you have questions or you're interested in the class. And also, one of the things I like to make sure everybody knows is that all these classes, this show, Being You stuff is all based on the book, Being You Changing the World by Dr. Dane Heer. You can go to his website, drdaneheer.com, or even get it on Amazon. The light. It's an incredible book that has changed many, many lives, and it's in many, many languages. And get your copy today if you don't have one.
That's actually Being You in the World. It's all around the world in so many languages.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. My name is Sarah Grandinetti. I have classes coming up too. You can go to sarahgrandinetti.com. And thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see you this week in Costa Rica. How did we get so lucky? I will see you at the pool bar, and we will cheers to Being You. Thank you so much, baby.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Bye.